I'm curious, am I allowed to call you AJ or?
Yeah,
Okay.
you don't have to say the whole thing.
Okay. I mean, I would if you wanted
Nah,
me
that's
to.
too much.
Okay. You had kind of poked fun of me, or maybe calling me out, because at first I wanted to talk about like Killmonger or whatever. I wanted to talk about the whole like black villains and how like people aren't writing them great, whatever. I feel that more inclination as a black mixed person, whatever, to talk about certain things that involves race, like we'll be
Hmm.
talking about with like the Tiana and more importantly Ariel. Do you ever find yourself conflicted of like almost like you're falling into this well that you'll never get out of, where it's like I feel like I should say something as like the free thinking Negro that got off the plantation, but at
Yeah,
the same time I feel like, do I have to say it just because of me? You know what I mean?
it depends. If it's a topic that I care about or a
Hmm.
character that I care about, like this representation argument, I never really gave it. What's the
Same.
rating? What's the rating on your show? What can I say and not say? I curse a lot. I don't have to though.
It's all good. My audience is used to it by now. I went from like, oh, I'm not gonna curse at all to like, I'll curse, and you
Yeah.
won't know when it's coming either. So like, better get used to it.
Well, I never gave a shit about Black Panther. Like I watched it because people wanted to watch it,
Mm.
and people paid for my tickets to go watch it. So I was like, all right, fuck it. I got a few videos speaking on like blackness in media, entertainment, but it's
Right.
only about characters that I actually care about, or
Mm.
like race swaps. Just
Mm.
because, again, if I know like some history of the character, if I got more information, I would like for Black people to truly value themselves and to
Mm.
really be woke on how our skin is being used to shield criticism or to make somebody else that don't look like us a whole lot of money. So like I said, if it's a character that I actually care about and I can actually give some knowledge or
Mm.
more insight into the situation, I will. Other than
Mm.
that, nah, I won't.
Right. I get that.
And I think I talked about like the characters or the race swap characters in the Batman movie that came out. And that's just because my co-host, Ego, on our podcast, he wanted to see it. He's a Batman fan. And I was like, all right, well, shit, since, I saw it, let me talk about that. I'm not going to say it was blatantly obvious. You can just tell the identity politics in that movie, as well as I started noticing it very early on with entertainment. There was this one scene in Spider-Man Homecoming, which that, more identity politics. I felt
Mm.
like, they didn't change Spider-Man because they
Mm.
knew, okay, well, mostly white people watch this. So if we change him, people will have issues with it. So they just changed the characters around him.
Right. Yeah.
But it was one scene in that movie where Vulture kills the current Shocker. He picks up the Shocker's like weapon, and then there's a black dude just standing right there, and he throws it to him. He said, "You're the Shocker now." And the
Uh-huh.
dude was smiling like, "Thank you for this opportunity, Mr. White
Thank you,
Man." And I'm,
master.
yeah. And I'm like, wow, they were so bold and didn't think anybody would like pick up on it, that they just
Mm.
straight did it in our face, as
Mm.
opposed to doing it, in the real world with the casting and
Mm-hmm.
and all that. They was like, well, shit, we're just gonna do it in a movie. And I was like, man, y'all people are wild. So if I have emotional investment in the character, sure,
Mm-hmm.
I'll make a video. Other than that, I don't talk about shit unless I'm on a stream or something and it comes up.
I get that. Yeah. It's funny because I find myself wrestling between both now that I am the actual woke and
Yeah.
not the woke by hipster definition, but like actually
Yeah.
awake. That I find myself asking this because, you see it in politics all the time, where personally I'm probably like, I don't know, I keep changing the percentage. I think I said it last time, I'm like 85% libertarian. I'm just a free think. I'm not Democratic or Republican because they both can use the race card. And I feel the same way about certain commentaries on YouTube, that they also kind of become like that as well. But at the same time, I can't explain it. I don't know, maybe it makes me empathize with the crazy people wanting representation. For the first time, I was introduced to JLongbone, and seeing like a more free thinking black woman talk about movies I watch and we have similar opinions, I was just like, it's like I found a golden goose. I was like, where have you been?
Yeah. That's how I felt when I found Eric, which is
Mm-hmm.
crazy because he was the first person that I found on YouTube. And I can't say exactly that he was the biggest at the time, but
Mm-hmm.
he was into the politics, which I'm not into politics, but he's a
Mm-hmm.
libertarian. My thought process was always like, I shouldn't be looking for another human to be my savior or to better my life, especially growing up Christian. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I trust in God. I'm supposed to know that as long as I, live by him, do right, try to be a good person, things will handle themselves. So I never
Mm-hmm.
really understood the believing in a politician to make my life better. But then finding Eric in his libertarian mindset, then I was like, oh, okay, that's more of how I think, but I don't like titles. I don't want to be associated with a group or,
Right.
but then, he was talking about that as well as comic books and video games. So I was like, oh, okay. So I just started investing in him as a YouTuber, a content creator. And then that's how I found like all of the other dudes that he associates with. Yeah, I definitely feel you. And I'm not going to take it. I'm going to give it back to you. But how you said you found JLongbone, and that's also the same way I felt finding out. I don't know if you know who Kevin Grievous is.
I don't think so.
He created Underworld. He's not credited for creating the Underworld, the movie series, but he also created Blue Marvel. And he's worked on some other stuff. A black dude. And growing up, black people, we the minorities, but also we were definitely the minority when it came to people who was actually creating the entertainment that we watched. So I understood that there were less characters that looked like us, but I never thought I want to change one of these white characters black. Right. I was just like, well, these people have inspired me to create. I just want to stand next to them, shoulder to shoulder, and just create more characters that look like me instead of accepting the sloppy seconds of white folks.
Yeah.
And champion that. Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying, but also with that Underworld, the main characters were not black in that. So to find out that, this black dude made that world, which I prefer to supernatural to like superheroes, like cape type stuff anyway, that was just like, oh snap. I'm not looking at the characters on screen. I'm looking at the dude who created it and saw, okay, he looks like me. There's another black man that is already doing what I aspire to do. Despite all the little black kids and black people around me telling me, you on that white folk shit, stop doing that. You too old, just stuff like that. I was like, okay, I don't want to be like you niggas.
Oh my gosh, yes. I talked about this in my video about my obsession with interracial couples. And I was talking about how, like, if you grew up black, most likely you were told if you were different than everyone else, you were told that you were white, you were trying to be white, you were trying to be a coon and sell out of the Uncle Tom, all of that bullshit. It's crazy to me how to this day, even with everything that's happening with the race swapping, whatever, more than ever, I think it's pretty blatant how racist black people can be, and people are still trying to like dig them out the grave in the sense of like what happened to our ancestors. It's just crazy to me now that like I'm awake, is like black people are treated like children. My friend Kevin and I were talking about this actually. We're treated like children. Like we're not given enough respect to be held accountable when we do certain things. And we're not even given the respect to be given original characters. We're just swapping them out. We're painting them, a different shade, whatever, instead of creating, original black characters. And it can be done because it's already been done. So somehow, I said this in my video too, like somehow black people are like regressing in everything, and values, creativity, all of it. Like it's just, I don't know how that's possible. Like it's 2022, but somehow black people are worse than ever. Just in general, really. And someone could call me racist. I'm not trying to be racist. It's just my observations. Honestly, everybody's worse, actually, because the world's on fire. Basically, you don't need to see yourself on screen in order for you to connect with the character. Yeah. I guess it's nice to have representation. But even with representation nowadays, it's all just stereotypes. Even if you get an original black character, it has to do with slavery or racism or racist cops or whatever. It can't just be like a black boy or girl who grew up in a decent neighborhood, doesn't really have a lot of trauma, is just trying to figure out their life in the world. Like nothing relatable, God forbid. It's so specific. It ruins the character before it even really comes to life. It's sad. It's sad because I don't think that's helpful to any kids, black or otherwise, to not really see black characters who are someone they can really relate to.
Again, that representation stuff, I get what they trying to say, but it's like just going off me as a kid, like The Lion King is my favorite movie. I was Simba, you know what I'm saying? Like Balto. I was fucking Balto. And him having to deal with, okay, am I a dog or am I a wolf? I'm trying so hard to be accepted by these people. But once I actually acknowledge who I am and accept that, okay, then I can just be me. And the ones who actually like me or enjoy my company or are there for me, they'll come, they'll be there. The Power Rangers, you got a diverse group of kids. I didn't care about the black dude that was dancing while he was fighting. I couldn't dance. I liked Billy, the white nerd, because I was real nerdy. my favorite color was fucking blue. And he was the Wolf Ranger. Like, I love dogs and wolves at the time. So I'm like, kids will find so many other reasons besides skin tone to like a character. Gargoyles, Ninja Turtles. Again, like this shit don't look nothing like me, but ooh, he's a badass. I want to be a badass.
Right.
Or I might like this character's voice, or especially as a, not a comedian, like I was pretty funny, you know, I still think I am, but I've always been kind of funny. But it's like, again, joke characters like Michelangelo or like Brooklyn from the Gargoyles or like a Beast Boy. It's like, bro, kids don't care about none of that. And you can give them all these options and you can have a little black girl to be like, yeah, okay, I see that black girl right there, but I like this Indian girl. I like this white girl over here. Like, it doesn't mean you have to, or you're obligated to like a character just because they look like you. They could be a shitty character. And that's what's happening with a lot of these black characters that they putting out right now. Like, they're shitty characters, and you telling me just because we share the same melanin levels or whatever, I have to like that? Right now, what are you trying to say about me?
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That kind of does perfectly segue into the whole Ariel. Oh my God. Ariel situation, because I already checked out. Beauty and the Beast had me on the edge. And then I checked out with Mulan because I loved Mulan. Okay. My favorite princesses were Pocahontas, Mulan, and Belle, and you touched one of them, so I'm out. I didn't care for Ariel. I didn't. I thought she was a girl, where Pocahontas was like a woman and Mulan was a warrior and Belle was like a nerd like me. So I related to those characters more. I was inspired by them more. But I did like Ariel because I liked mermaids. I still do. I grew up watching the show H2O. I love that show to this day.
I know what you're talking about. I did watch it.
I shouldn't have been surprised that they were going to race swap Ariel, because I'm pretty sure the conspiracy that like all the redheads are being replaced by black actresses is real at this point, because we keep literally seeing that happen, and redheads are already a minority in themselves. So I can't imagine how frustrated they probably are that their characters are being erased sort of from the original source material onto with the Ariel. It's funny at this point. I'm not surprised by Disney at this point. To me, it's just funny. I think the funniest part is that she had braids. I didn't think they would do that. I don't know why I gave them the benefit of the doubt that they would at least keep her hair straight or curly, but just went straight to braids for some reason.
I think she has sister locks.
I thought they were dreads at first, but then I realized there was more definition to it, and I was like, oh, those are braids.
Yeah.
Great. Either way, it would have been bad.
I checked out, I put up a big fuss during Maleficent, and I was younger, yet I was like, okay, what is this whole sympathizing for the villain character? And this was early on, way before a lot of this stuff just, you know, just full steam ahead.
Right.
After that, I don't know if Beauty and the Beast came before The Lion King. I think Jungle Book was the first live action adaptation. Not the first, but in the group that I'm talking about, I think it was Jungle Book, and that was terrible. I enjoyed the Jungle Book. I didn't love it, but it was terrible. And I think after that was Beauty and the Beast. No, I'm mixing them up because I really don't care. I pushed all this shit out of my head. But what I'm trying to say is I just saw consistently them make these soulless remakes. So when they got to The Lion King, I was like, oh shit, it's happening to mine now. Oh, the lack of expression from the animals, the brown, dry ass looking.
I heard, I didn't even watch it. I was smart enough to not watch it.
So this was during a Renaissance era or a golden era of Disney. With these same movies that they're putting out now. So I think they're trying to recoup fees or get a whole bunch of funding to continue this shit show that they're doing. So you're seeing them recreate those movies that saved them before. And unfortunately, these movies are making them a whole lot of money because adults, they see the name, they're like, oh, modern, current. Nostalgia.
Yeah.
I'm going to go take my kids.
Yep.
Yeah. So like, despite the movies being garbage, people are going in just to see because they think it's going to be great. Well, a lot of people don't care or even realize what's going on with Disney. More people are waking up. It's nice to see. I don't think enough action will be taken though to really do anything. But I think that's what they're doing. They're trying to create this whole nother renaissance. I guess I'm back to the black stuff because you see at a time right now, like let's say Valkyrie in that Thor Ragnarok movie. It's like anytime you see a black woman, they have to be this hard ass, aggressive. She probably have side of her head shaved. It's just like that depiction of them.
Don't make me self-conscious, AJ.
Not you. No, it happens. I made one video where there's like 8 versions of the same character
Yeah.
across Disney properties. They don't have to put like you were saying, they give you a stereotypical version of a black character.
Yes.
But I'm saying it more so aimed at women.
Yes, and they also usually are lesbian. I have nothing against the gay community. I'm
Yeah.
just saying that I joked about this in the Moxie movie I did with Kevin, where we reacted to it, and I was betting that the side black character, whatever, would be gay. And she was. And I was just like, what did I say? Because it's a 2-for-1 deal. Like, literally,
Yeah.
you're at the pandering store, right? Pandering mart, and you're shopping, and you're like, all right, well, first we're gonna get the douchebag white straight guy. We're gonna put him in the cart. We're going to get the very sassy, flamboyant gay guy. We're gonna put him in it. We have the black female, we have the lesbian, and then we have the 2-for-1 deal. I think we're gonna get the 2-for-1 deal so we can save on our budget. It's
Yeah.
a bit tight. That's literally what they do. I catch it every single time. I joked about it in my recent video. If they did a live action Princess and the Frog, they'd make Tiana gay. I would bet $1,000, and I have nowhere near that money in my bank account right now, because that's what they do. And that just adds more stereotypes as well. And you confuse probably young black girls as they grow up thinking like, am I gay? Am I automatically gay because of my melanin? Does my melanin make me more gay?
Or I just don't need a man. Like, even if I like them,
Yeah.
a man serve one purpose. I can enjoy them for a moment and be done with them.
Yeah.
Like you just described Lightyear. I'm gonna be all over the place, and that's why
It's
this
okay.
argument I'm saying of, do grown ass men really care about a fictional mermaid? And I'm just like, well, it's not a bunch of children clocking in to work making these movies. It's a bunch of grown ass men. So yes, apparently we do care, but Disney got me into creating. It got me wanting to animate. It got me wanting to draw and do comics and all of it. It got me wanting to create. So yes, a lot of us do care about these, but Lightyear. So to see this depiction of Lightyear in that recent movie come out, I was like, hold on, this is not Buzz Lightyear's character at all. So they have to take him down a few notches to elevate these brown people that they placed in there. Like his commander or whoever was over him, who he was going against her command or whatever, she was black and she was gay. And they gave her the wife, and somehow they have children that look like both of them. Like as if it was a man and a woman had kids and they share traits with them both. Again, they'll use our skin to promote, to pander, to shield them from any criticism, because then if you don't like it, you're racist or you don't like gay people. But then it's like, well, okay, when I go into the toy store, why do I only see white Buzz Lightyear and I don't see any of these black characters as figures? Because Disney don't truly believe in them, but they know if we say I got a black friend, that's basically what they're doing. So we're down with the blacks. Then as you think critical though, it's like, okay, well, the director described this movie as the movie that made Andy want to watch the series to get the toy. Well, if that's the case, why didn't Andy have any of these black characters in his room?
Because
is he racist?
He's secretly racist, yes.
Is he racist? But then you go further. It's like, okay, well, if Andy's racist, why did he give all of his toys to the black girl that was in the daycare, that the toys were in? And I'm going in on Lightyear right now, just Toy Story. But it's like, once you make these changes, you start to have to ask these questions. And then it digs them into a further hole to where they can just deflect. That's my issue with it. That's what I mean by, like, this is not honest representation. Right. And because you didn't like Lightyear or you don't like gay people. In Buzz Lightyear, A Star Command, he had these alien characters around him as well as like robot people. It was kind of like Star Wars mixed with like Green Lantern, the Green Lantern Corps. So there was diversity already within that, but then they're trying to make Buzz Lightyear this overly confident, don't want to listen to anybody, arrogant dude. But it's like, that wasn't him in Toy Story. Woody was actually the villain. In a way.
Buzz was he was actually like Captain America, as ironic as it is, since Chris Evans plays Lightyear. He was kind of like Captain America. He was a soldier. He did what he believed to be right because he thought he was on a mission before, getting out of the Matrix Neo style and having a nervous breakdown because he's like, I'm a toy. Oh, God.
And he also elevated everybody around him. Like you see that in my video, I show like he's got everybody working out. He wants them to be the best versions of themselves. When he met Woody and all the other toys came up, he shielded Woody, threw him down, put his body over him, and started aiming his laser at the other one. So he instantly went into, I'm going to protect this person even though I don't even know them. There was the troll doll where he was like combing the hair and he was like throwing his hand like that or something. I'm like, how is this conservative guy that y'all trying to make him that don't care for this community when that is exactly what he wasn't? So it's just like, then once you really think critically about this, you're like, oh, okay, you people don't know these characters or even care to respect these characters that you're adapting. But you're taking them and you're telling them there's issues with it or with the audience, and we're going to fix that. It's just terrible to me because you see Disney turning into the villains that they created, that they warned us against, and that's what's happening right now.
You're right. But the actress who plays Ariel, I'm surprised like people didn't complain that she wasn't darker, because that's another thing that's been going around is colorism all over again, where it's like, you didn't pass the paper bag test, bitch. Get back in line. And you're just like, what is going on? But this has been happening across various cultures and races in movies. Like in the Heights movie that came out, the adaptation of the musical, where it's like about Spanish culture in New York and the Bronx, they were like, there's not enough dark-skinned Spanish people, whatever. And it's like, yeah, but like most people who have any brown skin, like it comes in shades. Like who's to say, you know what I mean? And it's just like now they're doing it with characters, black characters in particular. But like I said, I guess the actress is dark enough. They haven't really brought it up. I guess maybe if Zendaya was playing her, then they might bring it up. Like, we never get dark skinned black chicks, blah, blah, blah.
They just want to see white tears flow. So as long they got white people complaining, a lot of us are complaining, not just white people, but as long as they see white people mad, these weirdo black people are like, yes, take all they characters. You have enough representation, give me more. And I'm like, damn, y'all don't believe in yourselves that much that you sent her begging your so-called oppressor to give you the entertainment that you want.
That's right. Yeah, the irony is so funny.
It's crazy because we all types of coons and whatnot, but it's like, hold on, I'm fighting for us. What are you saying? I hate these sloppy seconds, these chitlins that they giving us. I want my own shit. The issue is not that there's a mermaid that's black, it's that you're race swapping Ariel. Her name is Ariel.
Yeah.
And I think Tinkerbell took the better approach. Although it was animated, the Tinkerbell movie showed her and her fairy people. And then you got to see all the different races. And they were her homies. They was her friend. The Little Mermaid series does that. You know, why couldn't that be in this movie? Like in The Little Mermaid, I recall her sisters being in the movie for a brief second, but you don't see her friends. This would have been a perfect opportunity for a modern depiction of the Little Mermaid. Give us the same story, but show her friend group, show her diverse friend group, and either they telling her, yes, girl, go after that man, go see what them walking people are like, or, you know, or no, girl, don't do it, or, you know, have a mix between the group on like what she should do or not, and nobody would have had an issue.
No.
Go ahead and explain the Killmonger situation.
Oh no, I'm trying
that
to
you
think
wanted.
about it. No.